Bart. Bart is Suzie's estranged brother and Sherrill's estranged son, and he was also considered to be a possible POI, person of interest. He was known to be an alcoholic, and not surprisingly, his alibi was that he came home and passed out from drinking too much. No one could back up his story, but he did pass a polygraph test. I have questions if his home or vehicle were searched by police or not, though. It doesn't appear that they did search anything belonging to him, which wouldn't be shocking to me. When Bart was arrested for public intoxication in 2019 in Tennessee, he was investigated again about the case by the SPD, but he was let go. Bart isn't very active on social media, but he does run an online forum called the Streeter Family Blog, where he tries to investigate what happened to his sister. Now, you can find a link for that on my Wix website. When it comes to SPD, Bart feels they're not doing their job correctly. He would have to question them and get in their faces to get them to do something about his mom and sister over the years. This is a common occurrence with many police departments involved with the cases I'm reporting on. Bart thinks the police department is involved in the case somehow. He also has a list of potential suspects and the reason why they are suspects on his website, which is also available on my blog. Now, some of the suspects are not shared by me. Now, a convicted abductor and rapist, Robert Craig Cox, told authorities that he, quote, knew the women had been killed, buried, and their bodies would never be found, end quote. Even though Robert lived in Springfield in 1992, his girlfriend corroborated his alibi that he was in church at the time of the Springfield Three's disappearance. We know that alibis provided by other people can sometimes be false, though, and if this convict was known to hurt women, who's to say he wasn't threatening his girlfriend to provide him with an alibi? That would prove to be the case here. Robert's significant other later recanted her protection of him and stated that he had coerced her into saying they'd been together when the women disappeared. To aid in his lies, his parents then stated that he had been at their house the night the women went missing. Robert said he would reveal where the three women were after his mom died. Why? Maybe he doesn't want to upset her with his guilt and involvement in the case? Robert's looking like a good suspect, but as of 2023, he hasn't been charged for this case. What's the problem, Springfield PD? A neighborhood witness said that she saw a green van in the area 2 days after the Springfield Three went missing. A blonde woman with a birthmark on her cheek was driving the van, and a man was heard aggressively telling her, "Don't do anything stupid." I wonder why the possible abductor would allow one of the women, ID'd as Suzie, to drive back to the scene of the crime, aka their home. What's strange about the birthmark on the woman in the van is that Suzie had one on her cheek, or has one on her cheek, but often covered it with makeup. Speaking of the green van, no one in the neighborhood owned one. That same night, another neighbor was up with her newborn baby in the middle of the night. She said she heard a woman scream. Freaky. The FBI created a subject profile of the possible suspect in the case, and here's what they concluded. The unidentified suspect, is a white man in his 20s or 30s at the time and acted alone. He would have been a loner who lived by himself. He might have been friendly to neighbors, but he avoided contact with other people as much as possible. He may or may not have a criminal record. Likely, the unsub was obsessed with Sherrill and had scoped out her house. The suspect had a plan, knew what he was going to do, and didn't expect the girls to be there with Sherrill at the time he committed the crime. In 1987, Suzie and Sherrill were legally declared dead, but their cases remain missing persons cases with the police department. 5 years? That's all? I'm sorry, but to me, that's not long enough to call someone dead. If I were the family of Suzie and Sherrill, I would be so upset with the local PD. What about you? Now, that same year, a bench with their names on it was dedicated inside the Victims' Memorial Garden in Springfield. 2002 brought an investigation into a green van belonging to a group of men who worked in a concrete business in Webster County. Investigators brought in cadaver dogs who recovered bones from the site the men were working at. Unfortunately, the bones were deemed too old to be connected with the case. This means they didn't belong to the Springfield Three. But I don't have knowledge of who they belonged to. This ruled out the workers, or did it? Just 1 year later, in 2003, investigators received tips to search farmland in the area of Cassville, Missouri. Using hose, they dug up areas of the ground, leading to the discovery of blood in a section of a green vehicle. Your hopes may get up at this discovery like mine did, until I discovered that when investigators sent the blood evidence they dug up for further testing, The results were inconclusive. Every single road leads to nothing in this case. If you think I'm frustrated, imagine how frustrated the family members, friends, and detectives feel. Local journalist Anne Roderick Jones created a podcast in 2001 about the case called The Springfield Three, a small town disappearance. As of 2023, there have been 5,000 tips, but still no solved case. In my heart of hearts, I believe that whomever took and possibly murdered the Springfield Three was close to them. A reward fund of $43,000 has been established for the location and prosecution of the person or people responsible for the abduction of the three women. Who do you think took the women? What do you think happened to them? Let me know by commenting on my Instagram, Facebook, and X posts about this case, or you may email me at mysteriesofthemissing2023@gmail.com. At the time of their disappearance, the Springfield Three were described as Sherrill Levitt, 5 foot, 110 pounds, brown eyes, short bleached blonde, naturally curly hair, longer on top and short in the back. Sherrill has a thin build and has freckles on her neck and upper chest area. Born November 1st, 1944. Suzanne Suzie Streeter, white female, 5'2", 102 pounds, brown eyes, straight bleached blonde shoulder-length hair, large teeth with no dental work. She has a 3.5-inch scar on top of her right forearm and a small tumor in the left corner of her mouth, which gives the appearance that she has something in her mouth. Born March 9, 1973. Stacy McCall, white female, 5'3", 120 pounds, blue eyes, dark blonde hair to the middle of her back with sunlightened ends, freckles on her face, and a dimple in the middle of her chin. Born April 23rd, 1974. Suzie, Sherrill, and Stacy, if you're out there still, people haven't stopped looking for you. You're famous in your hometown, and they really care about you. Stacy, your mom says she won't stop looking for you until she finds your body. Hopefully she doesn't find your body. Hopefully she finds you, your friend, and her mother alive. I also hope that whomever this creeper is that called your home after you disappeared and obviously took you all will be found and brought to justice one day, hopefully soon. Anyone with information about the disappearance of Sherrill Levitt, Suzie Streeter, and Stacy McCall is asked to contact the Springfield Police Department at 417-864-1810, Crime Stoppers at 417-869-TIPS, or you may email me at mysteriesofthemissing2023@gmail.com. This has been another episode of Mysteries of the Missing. Until next time, stay safe.